Hello, figments of my imagination. As I'm sure you know by now, on October 28th, exactly 4 years and 1 month after launch, the New World development team announced that all future development would stop. Nighthaven would serve as the final content release, and servers would keep operating through 2026. The news was particularly shocking because apparently the Nighthaven launch was very well received. I personally didn't even know about it because God knows I take any excuse to hop back into the abusive relationship that is New World, but apparently concurrent player counts were passing 50k, and while I can't speak to how well that would hold up, or anything really about the update, things did look promising. So what happened? Well, on the 28th, Amazon cut about 14,000 corporate jobs to more aggressively invest in AI. And that's not speculation or AI doomerism, that's literally what Amazon said in their own press release on the screen now. As part of the firings, it seems like almost the entirety of Amazon Game Studio was gutted. At this point, it's assumed only a skeleton crew remains, probably focused on publishing duties for Lost Ark and Throne of Liberty. And with the development team all axed, it's also assumed that the upcoming Lord of the Rings MMO is dead as well. So it finally happened. Many times through the years it's been proclaimed, but finally, once and for all, New World is dead, at least barring some sort of sell-off. The statement says servers will stay up through 2026, but no one wants to play an MMO with an expiration date. Besides, it wouldn't be the first time AGS lied to the players, although I guess it would technically be the last. So that's something. All of this happened a few days ago at this point, and I took my time before saying anything, because I wanted to properly reflect. Reflect on the situation as a whole, on my time spent in New World, and on what this means to me personally. And I say personally because while I understand that there is a larger community hurt by this, one that is significantly more active than I am, I can't speak for them because I was never really part of them. For the most part, I played New World the same way I always play MMOs. Alone. Well, that wasn't always true. In the final days of the last beta, I did join a guild, and I stayed with that guild through launch and the first few months, until what most people view as the first time New World died. My whole guild essentially stopped playing while I was away for the holidays, so I left my now empty guild and went along playing for a few more weeks alone, until I finally jumped ship with my former guildmates for Lost Ark, a game I would give up in less than a month. And thus, New World was dead, in my eyes at least, and my hunt for a new permanent game began. A hunt I've carried on for about 3 years, briefly interrupted at least once a year by a return trip to Eternum. But something changed recently. I've realized that nothing is going to ever scratch that itch. Everything sours with time, no matter how fun it is. Eventually, repetition and monotony will get the best of me, and I'll be hunting for something new and refreshing. So by their very nature, MMOs can never be that. I enjoyed my time in New World. It was really fun for what it was. That's why I would come back so much. I was chasing that high, and the seasonal system did give it to me, at least for a little bit. And I would have come back this time too, if I had actually heard of the expansion. But I wouldn't have stayed. I'm not going to lie to myself, and plenty of others would do the same. And in my opinion, that's the problem with the MMO genre. By design, they will get stale. Developers can introduce new content, refresh old content, do anything they want, but eventually the player has done it all and will move on. Most of the time. Obviously, some people will stick around, possibly forever, if allowed, but the majority of players want something new way more frequently than a single game can deliver. Personally, I think that's why I loved Magic for so long, and why I'm obsessed with deck building games in general. By shifting the burden of new content creation to the player, you end up with players that are hooked to your game for significantly longer. The same theory probably speaks to Minecraft's lasting popularity 15 years after release. The game is what you make. The developers only gave you the tools. Maybe MMOs will adopt similar designs in the future. I'm not really sure how, but I'd bet it's possible. I mean, sandbox MMOs do exist, but that's a whole different can of worms. I guess that's kind of what Ashes of Creation is going for, but I don't know. Maybe the larger issue with MMOs is just that people want instant gratification these days way more than they did 20 years ago. Expect is probably more fitting than want, to be honest. Just look at WoW. Classic WoW takes literal weeks to get to max level, but retail WoW, I think you do it in like 2 days or something. The whole thought there being you want to get to the fun thing as quick as possible, whereas before it was the journey that was viewed as fun. But I've gotten pretty off topic. The bottom line is, New World was fun for what it was. Even if it didn't live up to its potential, even if the devs seemed to kneecap themselves and the game at every possible opportunity, even if it died more times than Kenny in the early South Park seasons, it got me into YouTube, it pushed me to actually interact with other people in an MMO. It was a great game. A sort of comfort blanket that sat in my Steam library, always there for some fun action combat crafter gather gameplay. And now it's gone. And I'm going to miss it.